Good afternoon. It is January 6th, 2022. It's Thursday, and we had another range day today. These are the overnight highs and lows here. Let me make those yellow so it's a little easier to see. We had that sell-off early on. Let me wait until the chart's up. We had the sell-off early on, so, felt like maybe we would go to the low side, but you can see it's pretty much a measured breakout. You can see the breakout to the low side was actually a little it wasn't as strong as the breakout to the high side. So maybe that's why we stayed in the upper half of this range most of the day. So we'll take a look at these trades. To me, this was a pretty good range day with a decent amount of opportunities. So we'll take a look. So early on, we were just in this congestion. And I don't see anything that I particularly like in here. I did like this earlier. It looked like a second entry to me. We're going on both sides of the EMA. So I was like, okay, well, it'll go back to the other side of the EMA, which it did do that. But after I drew my range, I would probably draw the range like this. It looks like you're going into the midline, and we're coming off the high, so we should expect to go to the low. So that was not a good entry. First entry. Failed second entry right here. You might think about that, but with this doji, probably not a good idea. And right here, you might think about, but look at all those dojis stacked up at that point, so that's definitely not what you want to do. If you look at this all as a double bottom and reset the count, you got a first failed second entry. That's too far from the EMA. We make, looks like 3 legs up here. So we make 2 legs, and it's probably just a break of a channel. And you got to move to a new high. Attempts to go higher once. So unless prices are strongly trending up past the overnight highs or down past the lows, you can expect a trade like this to work. So we get this first entry, failed second entry long, and that sets up pretty well. If we draw our trend line, yeah, that sets up pretty darn well. So I think you can take that, and that turns out to be a fantastic entry. We come back. I marked this because this kind of looks like, I guess it is technically a second entry short, but this looks like 1 leg up. But you can see that first entry, second entry. So yeah, so that's why I marked that aggressive. We'll see if Mac marks that as red. And then right here, why did I mark that? I guess I thought this was a... Did I view this as like a failure? I thought I saw a second entry there. That's not a second entry though. So nothing there. Form this congestion, come down to the lows. We bounce right here, and we make these 2 legs down. And that was a strong sell-off into these lows. Very strong sell-off. But the buyers came in and reversed that. I don't think there's anything in here. I guess technically this is a second entry, so you might take that. But it's pretty clear that the trend is slowing down. But yeah, that's technically a second entry short with a really bearish signal bar. So the buyers come in, shoot this thing up. No entries in here. No second entries. This isn't the low of the swing. I guess you could look at it. No, that's a first entry, second entry. So no, nothing here. First entry. Actually, this is technically Oh yeah, this is a new high. So first entry, second entry. Now why did I mark that aggressive? I think I thought that this was a first entry, second entry right here, and this was a higher low. But I'm going to have to mark that as blue, because that would have confirmed this trend channel. Then we come up here. I was a little skeptical of this just because it looked to me like we had this overshoot, but I'm sure you could probably argue for that. But based off the midline, I think it's right there. So this overshoot you get, and technically that's a third entry, but it looks like one leg correction, that second leg of correction, second entry long. And this isn't off the EMA, but you got to figure we're probably going to the highs of the overnight range. That's where we're headed. And if you don't take that, you get a higher low, because this is very high risk. 26 ticks, you're probably not taking that. But the signal bars today were very large. Even this one was 16 ticks. So anyway, we come up here in this channel. It starts to form some congestion up here. So this, I guess, this kind of looks like a second entry long, but with a double top right there. I don't know why I marked that. And that's definitely not the trend channel, off the trend channel. That's the EMA, so you're not looking for that. I'd probably have a range drawn right here at this time. And so I don't think you can go short here, unfortunately. That does look like a second entry short at the overnight highs. We'll see what Max says, but I don't think you can take that, especially since it's a higher high. But when we come over here, this looks like a double bottom. First entry, second entry with a lower high. It's clearly we've had a break of that short-term channel. I like that entry a lot. Oh, and you might consider that, but all these dojis right here and these two dojis, I don't think I'm going to mark that. We bounce here, so yeah, I think that confirms that this is a range with the bounce right here. And look, that's why you don't enter on these breakouts unless it's a higher low. Because look at that, you get trapped right here. So we come up, back up here, and it fails yet again. So I think when it fails again, you get that first entry failure right here, failed second entry long. I think you take that. And if you don't take that, we get a first entry, second entry short. I like that because this failed again, so we're probably heading at least to these lows. Yeah. And then, you know, we test these lows once, twice, and a third time. And this is also a second entry long as well as a failed second entry short. And I like that with that bullish signal bar. It is congestive, but I think I just like that for trying to test these highs now. And here you get a second entry long, but we wouldn't have had this channel confirmed at this point. It does look like we're trending up, but you probably would have had your trend channel drawn closer to this. And that looks like we just broke the channel. So I like that. We trend up, make a new high, and unfortunately you don't get a failure right here. You get this first entry, and this one it was trying to tick higher, but it didn't. So I mean, maybe an experienced chart reader would go short there, but it also looks like congestion here. So you don't get an entry there, but you get a first entry. Second entry doesn't set up to my liking. That's just a doji. But when we get this lower high here, I think you can take that. And then you also get a first entry, failed second entry long here. And you could have entered on this engulfing bar because I think there was like, it was up here. And then within like 300 ticks left of the signal bar, it started to really push down. And so I went for the failure right there, and that that worked out really well. And I marked this one because it's a second entry. You can see we go higher, go lower. And it looks like this is a level of support, so it kind of looks like a failed break lower as well. So I marked that as aggressive. You can see we made this channel up. And, you know, this is a range right here. But unfortunately, we didn't get a lower high up here that looked good enough to enter. So that's what I saw for today. Let's see the trades I took. So I took I shouldn't have entered on any of this, to be honest. I wish I didn't. I went short here on thinking that this was a second entry short, and after this channel down, I should have had my channel drawn like this. I had it drawn like this, I think. And so I was looking at it like that, but I mean, look at this congestion. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, yeah, really I should have been looking at it like a range and been playing it like a range and looked at this as one leg down. Just say, look at all that congestion, that micro congestion there. That's enough to tell you not to take it. But I took it because it was a first failed second entry long and a second entry short, but this is a double bottom. So that's really a first entry. And you can see the second entry short actually works. We didn't get a setup, but it works. And here I went long on a second entry long. I already talked about that, so I won't spend too much time on that. I shouldn't have taken that, though, because this is just it's back and forth, back and forth. If it came down here and was a second entry and with the signal bar that good, I'd be okay with it. And then I took this failure here. I like this trade. So not much to say here. First entry, failed second entry. We got this big leg down, so we're expecting another big leg down. That's what we got. So that's what I saw for today. I hope everyone had a blessed day. Look at that measured move. And I'll be back tomorrow.